Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today's video we are making this beautiful creamy mushroom risotto. Now like I say, this one is going to be a mushroom risotto, but it will work the same way whichever you want to do. All the ingredients are really easy to get hold of. Most of them you can get from your local supermarket. So we're going to need some Parmigiano Reggiano, or some Parmesan cheese. I've got a bulb of garlic, and I've got a shallot. Now granted, this does look like a bit of a weird deformed shallot, but it's just a shallot nonetheless. I've got some mixed mushrooms here, so I've got some chestnuts, some shiitakes, some oysters. Try and use a different variety of mushrooms if you can. I've got a litre of vegetable stock, some dried porcini mushrooms, some Arborio risotto rice, and a bottle of white wine. Now just make sure the wine is something that you like to drink. So the first thing we want to do is get the stock onto a simmer. So we're going to need this to simmer all the way through the recipe. So just put it into a saucepan, put it on the hob, bring it up to the boil, and then just leave it to simmer. While that's simmering, we're going to get on with rehydrating our porcini mushrooms. So we're just going to make ourselves a nice beautiful umami cup of tea here. So we're just going to put the mushrooms into a mug, and then we're just going to add some boiling water. Like I say, this is just to rehydrate those mushrooms. The water I'm going to add to the stock, and then the mushrooms I'll add to the risotto. So now we've got all that on the go, what we're going to do now is prep our veggies. So like I say, I've got one shallot here. This is quite a large one. For some reason it grew 2 in 1, so you know, 2 for the price of 1, you can't complain. Now you can use normal white onion here if you like. I just like the flavour of a shallot. I just think it's a lot more subtle. And we want to really finely slice it because we don't want big chunks of onion in there. So just cut it across and then slice it into really small pieces. We're going to use the whole shallot. And then I've got 1 clove of garlic. Now this is quite a large clove of garlic. You can add as much garlic as you like, but like I say, I just like to add the 1 clove. And then your mushrooms. You can cut them up entirely however you want to. It is your preference. You can have them big, you can have them small. But just remember that they will reduce in size as they cook. Okay, so now we're ready to start cooking. So I've got myself a frying pan here. It's a non-stick pan, quite a deep one, and that's quite important. And then I've got half a cup of garden peas. These are just frozen garden peas. I thought they'd taste really nice, so I added them in last minute. You don't have to add them if you don't want to. So to your pan, you want to get it on a medium heat. And we're just going to add about a tablespoon of oil. I'm using a rapeseed oil here, but olive oil will work just as well. So now I'm just going to add our onions and a garlic, and we're just going to sweat those down. We want them to go nice and opaque and soft. You don't want some chunky hard bits of onion in your risotto. So we're going to fry these off for a couple of minutes until they're softened, and then you want to add in all your mushrooms. Now remember, like I say, it does look like an awful lot of mushrooms, but it will reduce right the way down, probably to about half. So we're going to cook these off. It probably takes about 5 or 6 minutes. And so the idea here is just to, you know, get some colour on them and let them reduce down a little bit. So once that's happened, you can just add your porcini mushrooms. These are nice and hydrated now, so they're nice and soft, and they'll mix in beautifully with the rest of the mushrooms. Now you just want to give it a good season with some salt and some black pepper. Now don't overdo it with the salt here, because remember the stock does have salt in it as well, and also you're going to be adding some Parmesan cheese later, which is also salty. But the pepper, knock yourself out with, because obviously pepper and mushrooms go really well together. And then I'm just going to add in my garden peas. Like I say, these are just bog standard frozen garden peas. They work just as well as anything else. Never be ashamed to use frozen garden peas. They're fresh and beautiful. So now we're going to add our rice. So I'm going to add 2 cups of our Arborio rice. This recipe is going to be enough to feed at least 6 people. Or unless you're like my wife, then you know, just one very, very, very big portion. No, bless her, she doesn't eat that much. So just going to stir that together. I'm going to fry it off just for a couple of minutes. The whole idea there is just to get the flavour into the rice so that it starts absorbing the flavour straight away. And then you want to add a really good glug of some white wine. You're going to continue to cook this until the alcohol flavour has gone. So if you can't smell alcohol anymore, it means you're good to go. Obviously, because the alcohol's really bitter, so that's the reason why we cook that off. Once all the wine has been absorbed, what we need to start doing now is adding a couple of ladlefuls of stock at a time. Now, because of the size of the pan, I had about 3 ladlefuls at a time. You're going to continue this process all the way through, just adding a few ladles at a time once it dries up, until either you've run out of stock, in which case you might need to get a little bit more, or until the rice is cooked. Remember when you're making a risotto that the rice should be a little bit al dente, which means it's just about cooked, but it's got a little bit of bite to it. There shouldn't be any crunch in the rice. Absolutely delicious. Like I say, all you're doing is literally just rinsing and repeating. Then I'm just going to add a handful of some fresh parsley in there. That's going to really brighten up the dish. I'm going to cook that off for another couple of minutes, and now I've turned the heat off, so this is now cooked. And we're going to add a really good grating of Parmesan cheese. Or if you're anything like me, you could drop the whole thing in there, quite literally. Obviously, that was a mistake. Don't add the whole thing, otherwise it will ruin the flavour. So like I say, the heat has been turned off this now, so we're just using the residual heat in the risotto just to melt that cheese. And the cheese is going to make it go really soft and gooey. Beautiful, creamy risotto. Now when you're serving this up, all I do is just shove it into a bowl. I don't even add it very nicely into a bowl, literally just shove it in, but obviously presentation is whatever you want it to be at home. And then I just get myself a speed peeler and just shave over some Parmesan shavings over the top. If you want to get pretty, just put a sprig of parsley on top, job's a good one. And that is it, guys. That is how you make the most beautiful mushroom risotto. Like I say, you can make this recipe with something other than mushrooms. You could just substitute the chicken or some other flavour in there that you want. But you've got to give this one a go, guys. It tastes absolutely delicious. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do hope that you enjoy this video. Please don't forget to leave a comment down below of anything that you want to see in a future video, or if you've got any questions. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and please subscribe to the channel to become part of the family. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching.